Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Raising Excellence. I'm Michael, the MC and Opportunity Ambassador for today's show. And today's show's title is Negativity Be Gone. With me today are my fabulous co-hosts, and we've got an excellent guest for you as well. So I'll start with Agnieszka, our psychosomatic illuminator.
Hi, everybody. Love to be here every single week.
Dennis, our freedom facilitator.
Greetings and blessed love, beautiful people.
And our special guest, Lucy, the, what did you call it? Mystic? Was that your title? The Mystic. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you.
Agnieszka, this show is really your baby, so let's let you start it into what are we talking about with negativity be gone?
So Lucy's one of the smartest people I've ever met. She's really cool. I really like her. I think she has tremendous insight. And it's almost like she sees things that are on this level and on some other depths, some other dimensions. She can really zero in and hone in on what the issue is and present it in a way that's digestible, that's not like putting off or whatever. And I think that's one of her superpowers, right? She sees clients in different walks of life and stuff, as far as I know. And yeah, she's really super cool. So I thought that she could teach us like a fraction of the wisdom that she brings to the world in this 90-minute show. Here's hoping. How you doing, Lucy?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. And I'm so excited on being on the show today. So I appreciate you and everybody who's watching.
And Lucy's been my friend for several years now.
Yes.
7 or something?
It's been a while.
How did you guys meet?
Well, we were both psychosomatic therapists, and I used to work for the psychosomatic therapy office in Canada, and we had some classes we held in the States, and Lucy was at one of them, and we fell in love right away. It was a romantic love story. Two friends, just like, oh my God, where have you been all my life?
Yep.
Do you remember what the seminar was on, Lucy?
Yes, it was Psychosomatics 1 and 2, and it was for the practitioners level, and it was in Sedona, Arizona.
At a mansion.
In a mansion. Big.
Huge mansion. Crystal buried underneath the fire, like in front of the fireplace with like a glass cover. So when you were sitting in front of the fireplace, it was this huge, like human body size, almost like top half, I guess, crystal that was like right there underneath you. It was really cool. And also when we looked out the window, the vortex, whatever place was right there, the mountain that had the energy. I forget what it was called. So that was a lot of fun.
It was pretty amazing.
So Lucy, what's your superpower? What do you bring to the world that like other than my opinion?
So I bring a couple of different superpowers into the world. The main one that I bring into the world is learning how to utilize your mind for manifestation and understanding that words have huge amounts of power. So first there's thought, then there's word, then there's action. And when you pay attention to what other people are saying, they'll tell you exactly where their life is going.
How they're saying it and what words they use to describe it, and the tense, present, past, future about specific things.
Exactly, yes.
Like when somebody's always talking with future tense about their success, we're gonna, they're putting it off into the future, but they're not bringing any aspect of it into the present.
Correct.
Or other people might talk about the past as if it was the present. Like this is happening. Like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, there was this, when I was a kid, there's this house, and next to the house, there's an apple tree, and then they'll tell you the whole story, and then they'll say, yeah, it burnt down in 88. So it isn't, but in their mind, it still is, right?
Correct. It's still they're living in the past, which will steal your power. It will take away your presence and your power. And same thing, if you're in the future too much, you're losing your ability to manifest or to create or to have what you want in this life when you are in the past or in the future. So I teach individuals how to be in the present moment through simple, easy techniques that seem too easy.
All right, teach me. I'm ready.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to teach is I call it the focused, balanced, centered. You can use these 3 words. You can use any other words you want. It doesn't matter. Not really. But to start with, I would suggest doing focused, balanced, centered. So the first part is put your index finger with your thumbs together, and you can relax them. I'm just holding them up so you
You
can see
guys
them.
play along.
If you're really, really stressed out and you're having a bad day, go like this
It's a
in the
glass.
mirror. Yes, and then start
You
laughing.
have to see reality.
So this is going to really help you de-stress. Now the second part, now this is what they do not teach you, is you put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and right behind your teeth there's a little mound. It's kind of like an M, and not your tongue. You want to put the tip on that tip. So did you feel that energy circuit closed right then and there? So that's the second step. Now the third step is you want to breathe all the way down to your toes. And then have your feet uncrossed and you breathe out. You breathe in, focused, balanced, centered all the way down to your toes. You breathe out anything that's preventing you from being focused. And as you breathe in your next breath, you breathe in, focused, balanced, centered. Hold it for a second. Breathe out anything that's preventing you from being centered. Breathe in, focused, balanced, centered. You want to breathe out anything that's preventing you from being balanced. And then on this next breath, you breathe all the way deep, deep, deep down into your feet, into your toes. And then you push all of that energy out. You let go of your fingers, let go of your tongue. You breathe out, just like you're forcing stuff out of you. So
I think that released my shoulder.
you released your shoulder.
Yeah, I had this pain, like muscle thing. And it's like, psh.
Just released.
I might have to do that one more time in the future.
Yes. If you do this several times in a day, you're going to bring yourself in the point of power, which is right here, right now. And each time you do that, you're starting to create a cylinder of energy. So when you're walking, it's almost like you have a globe that you're walking around, and it's starting to manifest and getting larger. And then that's what brings the attraction to you, rather than you chasing something, like you're chasing money or you're chasing this. You want to be still and bring it to you.
Yawn. That means releasing.
Yes, it will release a lot of emotional toxicity that was stored throughout your muscles in your body. And it's very powerful. Simple. So
Too
what do you
simple.
think? Yeah, that's what people think. So what do you think, Michael or Dennis?
Well, I definitely felt the electricity as soon as I touched my tongue to the top of my mouth. I definitely felt like what you said. There's power,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel pretty strongly about breathing already. I'm a big Wim Hof fan, so I do practice that kind of stuff. But I'm already on board. Yes.
Fabulous.
I felt relieved and I felt light in a way in my head as well. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. So when you do that over and over again, you actually stop your mind too. So when you do that last breath and you breathe out, it creates this gap between your thoughts. And when you have that gap between your thoughts, that is pure potentiality. You can choose what you're going to put in there next. And when you have control on what you choose to put in your mind and it slips deeper into your subconscious mind, that's when things start getting a little bit more interesting.
So
And
how important it is to feel gratitude in that gap, to actually fill it with gratitude.
you can fill it with anything you want. Gratitude will keep giving you a sensation and telling your subconscious that you are grateful. So it'll bring you more circumstances that make you feel grateful.
That's what I was thinking exactly.
Yes. So being able to work with that is the beginning. But let's say, let's face it, we've been having a really difficult year this year. And we've had a lot of individuals stuck at home for days, weeks, hopefully not months, but with the things that are going on in this world. So you can work on doing that. That would be the first thing. But let's say you have been trained to maybe consider you've had bad luck all your life, or maybe you're ready to change. You're tired of the same patterns you've had, or maybe your family's had them for generations and you want to break that. So in order to do that, some of the things that you can start doing is really pay attention what's going on here. What are you choosing to manifest unintentionally? Ooh, that's a hard one, isn't it?
I think we've relaxed Dennis too much.
Uh-oh.
I'm right here with
All of
you.
a sudden we're like, ooh, we'll have to send some energy to shake everything up, wake people up. But when you are able to start choosing that, you can move forward. And to get rid of some of the other things that you might not be wanting to manifest is you can start doing physical exercises. I like to do something tangible because I'm a tangible person, so I want to see results. One of the main things I started doing to try to find out those little hidden programs inside of me that I wasn't quite aware of is I would take an index card. Today we can use like cell phones or whatever. And I just put happy,
I thought there
sad.
was magic in handwriting.
Right. Well, you could do magic in handwriting. That's true. So, but I take an index card and I put happy, sad, negative, positive, or positive, negative, and I just keep like a little tally marks on it on what's going on. Is am I happy today? Am I sad today? Am I is this positive? Is this negative? What is going on with me today? And when I first started doing this, when I first heard about it, I thought I was positive. I did positive affirmations. I was a pretty happy person, sort of. Okay, not really. And then when I actually started paying attention to what I was actually telling myself, I was sad. I was unhappy. I was I was I was mostly, this is in my book here. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So I put tally marks on that. And then, I thought at first I was doing such a great job, but then most of it was like negative or unhappy. So I was like, huh, I think I'm a positive person, but when I actually track it down,
What's your
I
book again? Can you show us the cover where that
yeah,
is?
this one it's called Magic, Mindset, and Manifestations. Um, and you can get this on Amazon. You can get this. You can order it at any major bookstore. You can even order it on Walmart. So, um, and this will help to really track where am I? Where am I starting at? What am I? What am I? What do I have to work with? And the mind can trick you.
Well, because the mind fights for maintaining the status quo. So it'll go, yeah, you're happy. You're happy with this crappy car. There's no need to get a better car. It's
Mhm.
only left you on the side of the road thrice.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to justify why we want to maintain the status quo, and then we override our, what's really happening. And that's what really trips up people.
Can I ask you a question?
Please ask
So
away.
why do people like say there are specific, so that say the person has a problem and there are specific tools that they could try that could fix that problem, and they're simple tools, but people don't actually do that, and then they get to the problem is so bad that they need like major intervention. And why don't they try the simple tools that are right there available to them for free everywhere all the time?
Well, a lot of them believe it's too like, if it's too good to be true,
Too
it's
easy.
too easy to be true. So, or they have a preconceived notion that that won't work for me. Oh, I've tried that, but they
But they
didn't stick
haven't.
with it.
They maybe
Right.
tried it for a day, not even for a week or a
Right,
month.
exactly. It's like they'll try it one or two, they don't stick with it.
That's like saying, oh, I suck at pool because I've played it twice and I sucked both times, therefore I suck at pool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. And
No benchmark.
there's, yeah, exactly. They have no benchmark. So why some people choose to choose the status quo? Because the mind tricks you into believing that something easy and simple is not going to work for you.
What do you think about that, Dennis?
It was interesting because you mentioned a few moments ago, the times that we're facing right now collectively, and I was wondering if if that is something that you perceive, besides individually, but how what you make out of the circumstances that we are under, this years, in the last few weeks and months collectively, if you see a reflection of the circumstances that you just described also collectively and not only on an individual level.
Yeah, I can see that a lot. And what some of the things is, a lot of individuals before having to be quarantined or at home or work out of home when they used to go to the office, is a lot of people were saying, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. I can't, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time with my family. I don't have enough time to be home and cook. Or and then all of a sudden, on a huge scale, across the board, all of a sudden people had all this time on their hands because they had to stay home, or they didn't have to drive an hour to 2 hours to go to work because now they're working on their computer out at a home. And it's just been challenging because they got what they wanted, but not exactly the way they meant it.
So that indicates that there was maybe a lack of clarity in what they or how they were asking for it.
There seems to be a lack of clarity. I mean, obviously there is a lot more to it than just a lack of clarity and people being too busy and not having enough time. um, this has been a fabulous time to do a grand reset on how we can truly move forward and produce without as much of the busyness as we had before.
So there's a change in the like astrology, whatever, on the 21st. There's a major shift that's happening, right? So this is our invitation to do what? Be more crazy? Run around?
If that's what you want to bring into your life.
No. I was just throwing in options.
Yeah. So if you're looking to actually bring more clarity into your life, and if you're looking to really reset on a new level so that you can move forward, starting with the focus balance centered is step one. Step two is, where are you at? Finding out what's really going on with your mind. um, Step three, let's say you've already, you did the little index card, or you tracked your thoughts for a week, at least 7 days, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I kind of thought I was really positive, but this index card, and now I'm starting to catch these thoughts that I didn't even know I had. I mean, they're so fast. They just go, and I'm like, oh wow. Now I can see why I got cranky, or I get cranky around this time of the day. And when you
Could
start,
it work the opposite too? If somebody thinks that they're really unhappy, but in reality they're not as unhappy as they think,
I'm,
they
they
just tell
could,
that story to themselves.
yeah, they could work that way. I haven't met anybody who's doing these exercises who are happy and actually are motivated to do these exercises to find out where they're at. Most of the people are in some type of pain or grief, or in circumstances that keep happening over and over again. So
What were
So
you writing down, Dennis?
um, I was making notes on what Lucy is sharing with us in terms of the index cards, the tracking of thoughts for a week, and so that seems to me, those are like the entry level. This is what you have to bring to the table. You have to have your own motivation. I was reflecting on, my own experience again, which is what I, keep on repeating to my students and even the children that I work with or that I used to work with as well in Jamaica, which is like, or sometimes I got like personal training clients also who were expecting me to bring the motivation. And I said, no, it can't go like that. It's like if you don't bring the motivation to the table, to start and to get things moving, then I'm in the wrong place, because that's not something I can bring for you. You have to have that within yourself. And you have it because you called me and I'm here right now and we're talking. So there's something there already. You initiated that. And so I said that basically that rudimental energy of wanting to do something, of wanting to make a shift, of wanting to experience something different, that has to come from you. And if you're hungry, bring the hunger and tell me I'm hungry and I have little food here and I share it with you. And as long as you're hungry, there will be something. But if you're not hungry, then I'm not gonna force feed you or push it down your throat, so to say. And so it felt to me that there has to be an openness, and there has to be a want to change and to do something different, or at least to look into yourself, and then those techniques will show its value, as simple as they may look. And so as I talk, I'm wondering what is, if somebody proves himself to be motivated enough to go through those initial exercises and practices, how would you take them along further after that?
yeah. So the next step is, so let's say you've discovered you have a lot of negative thoughts. You've got a lot of things going on, and when you start thinking about it, it really kind of makes you unhappy, or it makes you sad, or maybe it even makes you angry, because you might have done all of this personal development work. You've been doing affirmations, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and you're finding out that you've got some things going on that you're not happy with. So the next thing is to take out a blank sheet of paper and to just start doodling to start out with. You don't have to have anything in mind. Yes. You don't have to have anything, on what you're going to do. So you just start doodling, you start scribbling, and then you start allowing, you're looking at the index card and you're looking at all of the negativity, and then you start writing down these negative words that you're having, and you start writing down all of this different types of feelings. Sometimes a feeling is a scribble. Sometimes a feeling is using a red pen instead of a black pen, or you can use crayons, or you can, doing something that is tangible and physical. And as you're doing this, you're starting to put that energy out of you and into the paper. And you continue to do that. And sometimes you have to stop, because you're getting really worked up. You're like, oh, and you can stomp around, and you just continue to do this until you get all of that anxiety, that depression, that sadness, that anger, and frustration. You're getting that all out. And then you take the piece of paper. Maybe by this time you're at one paper, two papers, three papers. It doesn't matter how many you go through. it just means that you're able to get this out. Now, the next step is what I like to do is I like to crumble up the paper and toss it. And then,
Excellent. Toss it.
yeah, I just crumble up the paper and I just toss it. I bounce it on the wall. It's a lot. It doesn't do as much damage as throwing bricks or anything, stuff like that. It's a lot easier. And then you scoop it up and you bring it to a fireproof container. I have a great big fire container that I use outside, but I also have like a little bucket that's aluminum and I use it outside and I just put it outside, put it on there, and I set it in fire. And I just burn it to ashes. And as I'm burning it to ashes, I'm imagining, visualizing all of this just leaving me and just being burnt away into cinder. And then you can throw the ashes away if you want. You can bury them if you want to, like, if you're still.
I did that the other day with a little burning ceremony, and I used an old frying pan of Michael's, like a steel frying pan, and then I just put it in the sink and I washed the ashes off, and it was very cathartic.
Yes, exactly. So that's the next step, is to really start getting rid of those aspects that you don't want to manifest in the future. Does that make sense, Dennis? Michael?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I've heard, and I've probably gone through quite a few self-help books and so forth, but they say that somewhere between 80 or I don't know 75, 85% of the thoughts that we have, the micro thoughts, which could be anywhere from 50 to 150,000 per day, are negative in nature, and that's primarily from all the repetitious kind of sales ad and news things that are out there that are primarily trying to get our attention because because they're trying to get our attention, they are relatively negative or pointed at something that's a flaw in our character. And so those things being repeated, we are kind of conditioned to repeat those things in a lot of ways. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, a lot of times we are programmed. That's why they call it programming on TV.
Right. Talk about that.
Is that you're actually being programmed. So now there's a couple of different ways that the commercials are doing this. First of all, they have a certain flicker rate. So they have these images and they have a certain amount of light that flickers. So on the subconscious mind, it's going deeper because it's putting you in a sub-trans related state. You're becoming relaxed. You're watching a movie. Your emotions are coming up and down, which is a part of a sales techniques. Is you want to make them laugh, make them cry, make them feel sad, and then bring them back up. So it's like you bring them and then the commercials, they're going to prey upon your vulnerabilities. They're going to prey upon your sadness. They'll prey upon your intense desire to be happy. They'll prey upon your fears. Like when they first started coming out with digital services to make phone calls from your car. I'm not sure if anybody's old enough to remember that, but before cell phones, they had mobile phones in cars. And the first thing they would show is
Dennis wouldn't be old enough for that.
woman.
He's just little.
He's just little. Yeah, Dennis, you might not do that.
That's so cute.
So, but if you look at the commercials and you pay attention, it's like, look at what's going on in the background of the commercial, not just the characters right there, but you'll see facial expressions. You'll see stress, anger, frustration, excitement. They'll have commercials that are showing, like close-up toothpaste, and it's showing, instead of clean, healthy teeth, it's showing couples kissing. So
Have you ever seen that movie They Live? Where the guy puts on glasses and somebody
yes,
through and then he tries to get his friend to try the glasses on, but the friend is battling him and doesn't want to see.
Yes,
Great
exactly.
movie.
I think it's the longest fight scene ever in a movie. It's like, is it 8 or 12 minutes or so, just the two of them fighting in the back lane there.
Because the guy does not want to see, which is so realistic and so like today's reality right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's again, right? It's like you can't make somebody see who doesn't want to see. You can't help anyone who doesn't want to be helped. And I'm kind of, this is one of the things that the current situation really is pointing out to me, is really, focus on the ones that want to keep your company, and be very aware of whom. Well, I speak for myself. Like, I want to be very aware, even more than before, of whom I associate with, whom I work with and for, and who I surround myself with, because that again, it reflects it reflects my own, where I'm myself on an emotional level, because we have been talking about that, and that's a huge influence, because my surrounding is reflecting where I am on that level, and it also will influence me. So yeah, I feel that is an important part of emotional hygiene, in a way, to be aware of whom I surround myself with. And on that note, I'm very glad to be with you right now.
Thank you.
You're cool, Dennis. You're cool. Anything Khalil Gibran has to say about that?
Oh, you want him? I'm
Every
sure.
single time we're having a show, we'll be talking about something. Dennis will be like, I have a quote from Khalil Gibran, and it's always Khalil Gibran, except for now and then he tries to trip me up, and then it's not.
Oh, that's cool.
Actually,
A couple questions on, writing. You were talking about writing down your thoughts and then writing
Right.
down your feelings,
Hmm.
and burning those things. Is it the negative thoughts that you want to burn? Because if there are positive thoughts that you're having, are those things you want to hold on to? Do you not burn those things, or what?
It depends on what your intent is. So let's say you just want a clean slate. Doesn't matter. Everything gone. You want to start from ground zero. You would write the negative and some of the positives, if you wanted to. Most individuals do stick with the negative or the circumstances or their feelings of anger, frustration, irritation, depression, sadness, and negativity. They'll focus on those mostly, because most individuals now. But you could also start with ground zero, and let's say you're normally a positive person. Let's say you did do the index card, and you found out, hey, wow, I'm actually a lot more positive than I thought. And so instead of burning it to get rid of it, you could put all your positive stuff written down on the papers, and then you could burn it to as an offering of gratitude, so that it manifests and increase.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, any other questions on that subject? No, yes.
Well, it's something that came to mind when you were talking earlier about like past tense and present tense and future tense.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me like sometimes that'll happen to me, where I'm going from maybe past tense, or I'm talking about a project I want to do, and maybe I'll be talking in the future tense, or maybe I'm talking to somebody about maybe kind of adding to my credibility. I'll be talking about something from the past. Is that something that's useful, or is that something that's reflecting on where I'm coming from, as far as how I go about saying that? Like, is it specifically like when I'm talking about the past and I'm referring to it in a way that seems like it's in the present, or is it more just about, uh, or could I be doing that in a better way that would give me more power in what I'm trying to convey? I don't know. Is that a understandable question? I'm not sure if I'm getting it
I,
across.
yeah, I believe so. So when you're talking about the past, You would specify, my experience has been from the past, and because you're putting that marker point that this was in before this point, and then that way it tells your subconscious, it tells you, and it tells the other person that you've gained experience. It's been very valuable experience. The experience has been helpful, and because of this experience, then you go into the present moment. This is what I'm doing right now, and as I'm doing this, this is going to be the outcome, and then you move into the future. Where people get tripped up is sometimes people will be working on something, and let's say you're working on getting a degree or a class or something that you're working towards, and a lot of individuals say, well, I hope this is going to help me with my future. I hope this is going to help me get a better job. Hope is one of those trick words that's out there somewhere, and it's not solid, it's not tangible. It's kind of like I'm trying, or I try. That gives you the ability to say I didn't succeed, it wasn't successful, and it's not strong.
Pop out. It's
Well,
not
that's
a
all.
motivation word. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think that's also, and this kind of goes to Agnieszka too, is like when you're writing something, you say, I hope that this is what's going to happen, or it's probably going to be like this. If you're writing that out, that's suggesting that it's not definite. It's
You're not committed to the outcome.
yes.
Because if you really want something to happen, you'll be like, I'm going to make this happen no matter what. And wild horses will not stop me.
Exactly.
How much
And
importance?
huh?
How much importance do you give to when reprogramming yourself? What would be a technique you use there, and how much importance would you give to immersing yourself in the feelings and in the emotions that you would imagine yourself to have once you would have achieved your goal or your desired, the desired thing that you're aiming for?
Okay, so right there is very important what you said. When you achieve the desired thing that you're getting for, that means that there's a stopping point. So when
Okay.
you achieve something, you're done. And if you set yourself up for that, you're going to reach that point of happiness, and then you're going to stop doing everything you did to get there. And that's when we start backsliding into the old patterns. So when you look at this, it's like this is a part of the journey. And as I'm becoming happier and happier, and as I'm becoming able to manage the ups and downs of my life, then instead of your emotions going like this, when you're first starting out, your emotions start going like this. And it's like
It's that thing we did in psychosomatic therapy when we're like, I'm learning
Correct.
to be calm. I'm learning to be happy. I'm learning to be resilient. You're not there yet, and you're not hoping for the result. You know that it's going to happen because it's 20 hours between you and any desired skill. It's 20 hours of effort. So you're just learning. You're just going through the 20 hours. And if you're particularly slow on a specific subject, it might take 30 hours. Still not a big deal.
Correct. So the effort on what you're doing is consistency. And when you reach that goal, you have another goal that's a little bit farther away. And so each time you get to that step, you always work towards something that's a little bit higher, a little bit more out of reach. And doing incrementally. If you set your goal like this big, and then you try to reach it, see the trick words, I try to reach it,
Try to reach it.
it will always seem elusive. It'll always be out there. It'll just be you almost had it. You just and it's just and then you get frustrated, and that's when you start beating yourself up emotionally or mentally, or you start feeling those feelings of defeat and sadness, rather than looking at it and like this is your main overall goal. But when you start breaking this down to tangible steps where you can do each step within 15 to 20 minutes, that's when you're building it up
It's
toward.
almost like this is universal wisdom, because we've heard all this stuff in autonomy, didn't we?
I'm
Some of
sure
this
we
stuff,
have.
a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's always good to be reminded. I really like
Yes.
that.
It
Yeah, and
seems
it's for anything. Go ahead, Dennis. Sorry.
it seems often also that some of the goals or the things that we wish for, that we wish to manifest, or places that we'd like to reach, once we actually achieve them and we reach them, our focus already has shifted beyond it, and we don't notice, and we fail to recognize and to celebrate that we actually have achieved it. And then the feeling continues of, oh, I have not achieved that, but while already it actually manifested, but because we were not in the moment and recognized it, then because it didn't come the exact way how we imagined it, or it manifested itself differently or in a different shape, form, or color than we had, that we were able to foresee, then we fail to recognize it and to appreciate actually the fulfillment of what we actually had wished for maybe years or months ago.
It's funny because that actually happens to me. So like, I'm a writer, say I have 5 different clients wanting stuff this very minute, right? And I'll be working and sometimes because the creative process works in weird ways, sometimes I'll be late with something or other. Totally my fault, but I just can't seem to bring it up at the time. And then I'll be stressing out. Say I have 2 days and I want to finish these projects. I want to get them done, and I'll be stressing out. And then at one point, and I'm still at this level of stressed out, like, oh my God, I'm late. And then I'll be looking at my list, be like, oh no, I did that. Oh no, I did that yesterday. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I stressed out? Because it's done. The whole thing is done. I just didn't even know when I did it. And I did the, you know what I mean? And there's not even like, they keep, the guys upstairs keep trying to tell me that, keep trying to tell me that everything comes in the right time. Everything comes in the right time. Don't have to worry about it. You don't have to stress. Whether you stress or not, it's not going to make any outcome difference. Don't worry about it, but I'm continually creating these opportunities to stress and these conflicts to stress over, so that I can really, at a deep level, learn to not stress about bullshit.
That makes a lot of sense too.
Very talented at creating that.
So maybe you're an adrenaline seeker, but you don't even know it. So you're creating adrenaline through.
They always say that's in my horoscope, and I always say that's stupid. I never seek adrenaline, so that's not possible.
Right. So you would seek chaos.
No, I don't. I don't seek chaos. I'm fine. Somebody else.
Okay, I'll pick on somebody else. Michael, you're pretty quiet over there.
Well, speaking of adrenaline, go ahead. Go ahead, Dennis. You got something?
Yeah, there has been some feedback from a while ago. Tony's with us.
Didn't notice?
Tony was saying, and that was a while ago, hello, glad to catch you live. Off subject a bit again, but I can only use the phone on Wi-Fi. All right, let me.
That's not how you read comments, buddy. It's not how you do it.
Also, off subject, I finally have an interview with Richard on the 23rd. Oh, that's great. Stoked. Finally was able to get in touch with him. Thank you all so much for living. Nice one.
Awesome. Thanks, Donnie.
Oh, and then he was referring to the fire pan / buckets, I guess. He's calling it the fuck it bucket. So he obviously has experience with that. And then Shambhavi's around as well, sending a big heart to all of us. Thank you so much. Namaskar, Shambhavi.
Thanks, Shambhavi.
Colleen just commented saying, I agree. Using terms like trying is removing the responsibility from ourselves. When we fail, we can say, see, this failed and it was not my fault.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, in regard to that, kind of the comfort setting I think a lot of people have is kind of identifying themselves as somewhat of a failure, and then being able to say, "Yep, I knew that I was a failure," and kind of being predictable at being, essentially self-defeating. And that
Exactly.
comfort in having that, I think, is a lot of comfort zone for a lot of people. And I guess to some degree, because people are in this new situation where they have to work from home and they really have to manage themselves and discipline themselves a lot more. I think there's the potential benefit that they can kind of free themselves from the current or the old world of like having to go to a job and do all that kind of stuff and having the independence. But at the same time, if they don't discipline themselves, they're going to run into a situation in which they kind of beat themselves up, not just at work, but all the time. And their work just never ends, and all those kind of potential problems that people face.
But then it's that Zig Ziglar thing where they kick the dog. Have you ever seen that, Lucy? It's like a guy gets mad and then he takes it out on the secretary, and the secretary takes it out on her husband. The husband takes it out on the kid takes it out of the dog. And then the conclusion is, why didn't that guy just go over to their house and kick the dog?
Oh, that's true.
In between.
Well, there's to me, we've got this big change, but this big change could mean big things and big improvements in their lives, or it could mean big disasters and even more hardship and pain and suffering if they don't take more responsibility for themselves in their own lives.
Exactly.
It's the inner battle.
That is, and I love that, Lucy, when you said that earlier, the reset, our personal reset, or at least the possibility for that. And then it's really up to each one of us, right? If you take that opportunity to reset ourselves and to recalibrate ourselves on a different, on a higher level, or if you just go on and do the same old.
Exactly. Yes. And being able to reset yourself, it doesn't have to be just a one and done kind of thing. It's never been a one and done kind of thing for me. Sometimes when I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, literally like grumpy, I'll crawl back into bed. I'll go on the other side of the bed after about 5 or 6 minutes, and I'll just do some breathing, and then and then I'll tell myself I'm getting up on the right side of the bed, which is literally the right side of the bed instead of the left side of the bed. And doing something physical, resetting, it can be that simple, and say, okay, so now I'm going to reset my thoughts, because today I want to feel good. Yes, I don't want to be panicky.
It's my birthday week. I don't want to be cranky.
Birthday! I'm so excited. So, does that make sense? Has anybody ever done that aside from me? Am I the only one who resets by getting up on the other side of the bed?
I don't do it with the bed, but I do it in other ways.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
I will change my clothes.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, I've had enough of this, and I'll just like go and put a whole different set of clothes on. And then I also do some mental gymnastics, like reprogramming and reshifting thoughts and ideas and stuff. Sometimes I get stuck when it's something emotional. I get stuck for a long time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very sensitive, so you can tell right here. See,
it's okay if you're sensitive.
I will go and do some of the things that I really love to do, and I know that pretty much guarantee that I feel good or great or better at least. And yeah, I'll go.
Like digging a big hole in the backyard or something?
Picking up what?
Digging a hole in the backyard?
Yeah, no, building an airship on a desolate mountain on a tropical island. No,
on land that you do not own.
Work out, put on, good music, like music and working out. That's two things that they'll do me good all the while. And sometimes I forget how good it is, and then it's only like, after first 5 minutes, like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, that's good, and just forgetting about everything else, and that will recenter me and recalibrate me for the day or for the night.
That works.
Or taking a nap is good too.
Yes, I tried that before.
Eh?
You tell me, is it working?
Were you grumpy? It wasn't supposed to be to keep you awake for the show. It was supposed to be for being grumpy. We're considering maybe shifting the show at a different time, because right now it's 11:30 at night for Dennis when the show starts.
Wow, that's a little late for you, Dennis.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But when you're doing an international show, it's hard sometimes.
That's true. I definitely understand that. So how do you reset yourself, Michael?
Michael.
Well, and we've actually done a show on this, what I call my system check superpowers on.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of got like a little 10-minute routine that I go through, which is both mental and physical. I got a little exercise routine in there as well. That is one in which I do some push-ups, are kind of the thing that it is a bit of a difficult thing for me. And being that I was in the military, push-ups are always kind of considered like a punishment. And so it's a little bit of a willpower challenge to do the push-ups. But when I'm done doing the push-ups, and we're only talking like 2 minutes of exercise, I can feel the blood circulating through my body. And to me, that's also kind of like a mental exercise where I'm getting rid of the bad stuff and, providing oxygen to all my cells and so forth. And it's just, to me, it's just that super recharge, like what Dennis talks about as well. And, it doesn't take long, but it's a mental and it's a physical thing, and it's a breathing thing. And I just enjoy it. And then from that, I've got another thing that kind of goes into like the superpowers. I've got a whole long list of superpowers, but then I've got like music that's attached to those things that are kind of keys to kind of getting in that zone on that particular thing, or symbols, or just memories about particular things that maybe that music attaches to. That's like a powerful thing. But yeah, I've developed a pretty long and extensive kind of thing for myself when it comes to drawing out the particular things that I need for that particular day or that particular task that relates to those things. And for the most part, it works pretty well for me. Although I'm still a work in progress, and I'm not perfect by any means. It's always an ongoing struggle.
Have you guys ever met anybody who wasn't a work in progress?
No.
Dennis is thinking about his sister.
Well, I met, no, not really my sister, but I've met some. I've met some beings who, and that's just my view or my subjective impression anyway, but who seem to have reached or achieved a level of being that will require less maintenance in a way on that level, and that will or that seemingly freed up much more energy to help others to achieve that state. Yeah, but I'm not sure I can say that they are perfect or they have reached there, so, but it just seemed that there was a certain lightness, well, in all meanings of the word light or lightness around them, that that seemed that maybe not perfect, but what it does anyway, but they did not carry that much load or workload for themselves and could actually take on other people's burden or could help them to transform their burdens because they maybe freed up some of the energy that they otherwise would have to put towards themselves, and had more to give, so to say, or to share.
That's cool.
Well, there's the Alma story, right?
Alma, yeah.
Almost
Have you heard
probably
of
a
this
pretty good.
lady, Lucy?
Oh,
Alma?
yeah, I have.
She's kind of fascinating. Every time I have a bunch of friends who've met her and stuff, and every time any one of them talks about her, it's like my whole attention gets focused on it, you know. And even there was a picture of her in the background the other day when I was on the phone with somebody, and I was like, "That's that Amma lady, isn't it?" I'm attracted to her somehow.
Yeah, she does radiate an immense amount of happiness and joy and love. It's beautiful, actually. So I wanted to make a comment about all of us moving forward. I like to call the imperfectness perfection in motion, because
Oh,
when it's in
nice.
motion, you're always looking, it looks messy, but we're always in that state of perfection. We just don't know it. And what we perceive to be imperfect or not right or not good, when we step back and look at the larger vision of it, you can actually start seeing incrementally that the little steps that maybe looked like you were trapped actually prevented something worse. Sometimes it's helped you have a deeper understanding when you get to the other side. Let's say you've had a really traumatic childhood or a really rough childhood, you're able to have that empathy and that compassion on the other side once you're through it. And a lot of times when I was looking at, how I used to be so negative, and I used to believe that if I didn't have bad luck, I didn't have any luck at all. And of course, I did have people
When were
tell
you
me,
negative? I don't ever remember you being negative.
well, you've known me after I've gone through the other side.
Oh, it does not sound like you at all.
No,
Talk about
I,
bad luck
I,
and
I,
worse luck. No, Lucy's the girl who has I have perfect luck, and if I don't have a perfect luck, it'll be even more perfect next day.
it's just moving forward. And for you, Dennis, mentioning I like to work out, I like to do stuff, and same thing with you, Michael, with doing the push-ups and whatnot. Sometimes we need to physically do things to like get the negativity, so like negativity be gone. I used to take a fun noodle, and I had a cast iron bathtub back way back when
Two
I
houses ago.
yeah, well, yeah. My I bought an 1897 Victorian home that had an antique cast iron tub, and I used to beat the living dickens out of that tub with the fun noodle. And sometimes if I hit the tub just right, it would bounce and hit me in the head or something. So glad it was a fun noodle, not a bat. But doing something physical can help let go of that negativity. Other things that, if you're careful, I don't suggest to do this every day, but I used to also have a dead stump in my yard, and there was nothing, I couldn't get rid of that stump for nothing. So I started taking a little hatchet towards it, and it just, and every time I hit it, I'd put all my anger and my rage in it and frustration, and
And it shriveled up and died.
it it actually disintegrated within 3 years, uh,
Nice.
which is unusual. Usually they don't disintegrate that quickly. Usually it takes, because it was a big stump. So, but looking at different manners, and if you're more relaxed and whatnot, you can use a mood journal where you journal and you track what's my mood today, what am I feeling, how am I moving forward, and it can be a separate journal than your personal journal, and just to figure out where you're at. And once you're able to start doing that, look at the behaviors of, do I take on other people's stuff, am I empathic, and is this my stuff, is this my core being. And one of the ways that you can find out if you're empath is, your skin's really super soft, you're more sensitive. Is that correct, Agnieszka? That's what I've been saying. Yeah, you're doing a little nose thing.
Yeah, my skin is pretty super soft. It's true. And my hair's like a 3-year-old's.
So when you meet
A
people,
little rougher in Acapulco when you go in the sun all the
a little
time.
rougher on the ends, a little rougher on the edges.
Yeah, maybe.
So when you start discovering you're picking up other people's emotions and feelings, you can choose to write them out. You can choose to uh, disintegrate them for the other person so they don't have to deal with it. Um, you could be a light worker in that sense. And,
What if you're trying to help somebody and they just don't want to fucking listen?
you can't change anybody else's opinion. They're just not ready. And you also have to remember we have soul contracts too. Sometimes individuals have to go through that lesson in order for them to come out on the other side. Does that make sense? You're shaking your head,
I,
Michael.
I can definitely attest to this one because this is one where I feel in my job used to be project manager and superintendent construction, and it was my job was to deliver things on a particular time schedule, and so I would kind of get involved with whatever needed to get done, push people or control them or whatever it had to be to get them to do the job that needed to be done in the time frame that I needed to have it done. But that also translated into my personal life, trying to run that the same way, and it just doesn't work that way. And I to be patient is something that I was never very good at until I moved to Acapulco and started adopting a lot of the cultural and kind of different perspectives on time that is very relevant here. And to some degree, now I'm like super patient, and people are like, "What? Why don't you just push people? Push them a little harder." And in a lot of cases, I don't know. I'm sure there's a balance with that, but to me, I kind of err on the side of when the time comes, it'll happen, and I'm kind of reassured by my experience here in Acapulco. And to a lot of people, that's like, oh man, why are you doing this? Why are you making this so much more difficult? And I'm just like, well, when the time comes, it'll happen. And
Mhm.
it can be painful at times to go through that, but I think in some cases, and honestly, we were just with the Great Books Club. We were talking about Socrates and kind of like people need to learn on their own time frame, and whatever you are as far as an example, you just do that, whatever that is, and when the time comes, the time comes. And I guess I can't really explain it any better than that, but it is one in which I've learned to appreciate that I can't push people to do things that they don't want to do.
Mhm.
And maybe there's a better way as far as persuading them to do that, but until they're ready to do it, it's just it's it's not in your realm to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah.
I felt a way of cutting through, and that will require the awareness, of course, of what's happening in the moment, or of that negativity is there in some kind of way, um, and that's maybe more also like on a mental level, but it's something like I'm catching myself pursuing ever more often, is to not beat up myself about a specific feeling, or being down or being negative once I perceive that in myself, but to actually acknowledge that, and to say, oh, that's okay too, that's obviously part of my experience right now, so acknowledge that. And so
So that's like the inner kindergarten, right?
it's to go beyond the dualistic perception of negativity and positivity. So
Mhm.
if what is beyond that, so if there's something beyond that, and if there's if there's if that is just an illusion, the positive and the negative, then the perfection is actually within the negativity already. So it is part of what is perfect. And me thinking that it's imperfect and that's something that I need to change or to influence in any kind of way already means that I'm not looking at the bigger picture, and I'm not able to step out of the situation and see beyond the limited view of, oh, this is negative, this is positive. Because what I see, or what I today see as negative, 5 years from then I might perceive as something extremely positive, or the one who's sitting beside me might actually look at it right now and see it's positive. So it is totally subjective and depending on time, on circumstances, and it might even change for myself. So why not just step back right away and say, oh, that's part of the perfection, even if it's hard for me to believe that, or to know why. But it obviously is, because it is what it is right now. And if I acknowledge that there is perfection in creation, in the way that we perceive life right now, I might as well acknowledge that I'm feeling that way, and that's just a feeling, and that will pass as well as everything else will. And so let me go and move on and see what's next.
Yes, that sounds exciting, actually. Let's move on and see what's next.
That's true. Like, the excitement really is what carries me over then, because then it's not, oh my God, why me again? Why this? It's like, oh wow, I'm excited. Why is this happening right now to me? And it's like, and then I start thinking, it's like, oh, what does this urge me to do? What does this prevent me from doing? And so it gives excitement about life. I think that's at the core.
So, for me, it's like, oh, fuck, I thought I was going to be safe. This was going to be the time when I'm safe, and I'm not safe, but I'm always safe. I'm never unsafe, but there's a part of me, like an inner thing that goes, oh, my safety's in danger. I need to run away. So, I don't know. That's probably like the in-womb thing, right?
Yeah, could be. Definitely. So really being able to figure out what the next exciting thing is, and being able to figure out what do you want to manifest? What do you want to have? How do you want to feel?
It's funny because I don't do safe things either. But then when I get there, I always want there to be some safety. But there never is. I don't know. I don't know how this works. I do things that are crazy, and crazy things happen, and I'm surprised. Like, how did the crazy things happen? I was just doing some crazy stuff.
That might explain
bad, though. It really, truly, it's never bad.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I just perceive it as bad at the time.
That's interesting on how we perceive things. One person might perceive this as absolutely amazing, and one person might perceive it as negative.
Or you might see it as both and go a little crazy inside your head.
Well, you could do that too.
Or I do. I could.
Colleen was agreeing to a point a few minutes ago that Mike made. Tony was saying even the simple act of making the bed in the dawn, or whenever a person wakes, can bring forth many other small accomplishments. In turn, it brings confidence and self-awareness. And he continues to write, every day is another day to learn and experience life, and never be in competition with or try to be better than anyone but my previous self. Sharing my life is one of the best ways I know to be better. Yeah.
Nice.
That's deep.
Really nice.
And Rose was saying that was a fabulous point, Dennis. Thank you.
Thank you. That was just thank you for reading that, Dennis. So, and sharing our lives with other people is one of the ways that we can bring meaning and happiness and being able to move forward. So some of the other ways that we can look at that is looking at our words, our actions, and seeing if there's any hidden belief systems that's going on. Asking some questions to yourself if this is a family pattern, if this is not. And then just deciding that's enough is enough. Like when you change your clothes, like Neshka, you're like, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to change my clothes. I'm done with this. I'm going to move on. So
sometimes when I change my clothes, I change into pajamas. Like middle of the day, I'll be like, yeah, I'm just going to change into my pajamas. And I go for the rest of my day wearing my pajamas. And you know what? It's fine. It's comfortable. It feels safe and comfy.
It makes a lot of sense. So, what about you, Michael?
Swim trunks are my thing.
That's just your
Oh,
uniform.
that's cool. Swim trouts.
Yeah, well, I got a pool like right in front of me here, so I can jump in the pool anytime I want. If I want to just kind of relax and it is kind of a meditation for me to jump in the pool and just get on the floaty and float around in the pool for a little bit and look at the sky or look at the jungle or look at the view we've got out here. We've got a great view of the Pacific, so it makes it real easy to kind of uh, fall into what I would call awe at this beautiful view that I've got here, and even the forest and the birds and the animals. There's just so much to kind of lose yourself in, and just you know take away from the mental mind game that society plays on us is one in which it is a lot of stress and baloney that you know plays us for victims or allows us to be victims to that. But when you look at nature, nature is always pretty much in harmony. And if you just kind of look around, no matter what's going on, whether it's buildings are being built or buildings are being destroyed, the ants are still doing their thing, the birds are still doing their thing, the sun is still coming up, the clouds are still floating across the sky, and it is one in which you can choose what your perception is. So I'm very lucky to have that kind of a circumstance where that I can step into that pretty much at at my will.
That makes a lot of sense. And I don't have the luxury of having a beautiful infinity pool from what it sounds like you have. But I have wall tapestries all over my house of different places and gardens and Mediterranean places. And right now, because of the season, I actually have a huge wall tapestry of a giant fireplace, and stockings are hanging up, and it looks like I like did it all out. When I take a picture, and then I have a little tree next to it. And I'm like, so I take a picture of that, and like people are like, "Wow, you've got a really nice house." And I'm like, "It's a wall tapestry, isn't it cool?" So,
Nice.
so being able
But you don't
to,
have an infinity pool in this house, but you've had other houses with pools like in different circumstances. So
yeah, I have.
it's not like a thing. You're just a nomad.
That's true. I am a nomad, but currently I'm going to stay put here for at least 9 to 10 years, maybe longer. So, or at least that's the orders I've gotten from upstairs.
There.
Yeah.
So how do you get your orders? Do you get them in dreams, or is it a feeling, or is there a specific way you get them, or all different?
I get it usually not in dreams, which is good because if I try to interpret my strange dreams from my regular dreams, I would not do very good at deciphering what I'm getting. But I'll just have this knowing. I just it's time for me to go now.
And is that something you had, you always had before, or is that something that appeared at a certain point, and then also were you able to always listen at it, or is that the listening to the knowing, is that something that you had to work on?
I always knew things that I shouldn't when I was younger, and used to get in trouble. So in my early 20s, I found out what it was called, and I discovered a lot more about it. I did have to
What
hone
was called? Sorry.
intuition, psychic abilities.
Yeah.
I had to hone it and cultivate it, because when you're just open, you're picking up all this stuff, and you're empath. It's difficult to discern between what's mine, what's yours. Is this like I have this this passion, this feeling to do something, and then starting.
Bird friends are looking for me outside. They're really loud.
They are.
They
they're
gave me this morning when I was walking the dog.
Oh, how nice.
They were talking to me from a tree, and then it just fell at my feet. Super cute.
Nice.
They only grow on top of the trees, so pretty lucky. Anyway, it's just really loud. I don't know if you can hear it.
I can hear them. So,
Lucy, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying that, I had to hone in my abilities because I would just be picking up too much psychic debris, basically. I'd pick up things on people I don't want to know about that. There's things you don't want to know about people. I don't want to invade their privacy, not intentionally or unintentionally. And so the techniques of focus, balance, centered. I used to have racing thoughts, and so I couldn't hear. And once I was able to get to my core, my center, using the techniques that I've talked about earlier to, get rid of the negativity, then I was able to get signals. And then that's when I started getting the knowingness of what's my next step. And the hardest part is when my next step is to do nothing. It drives me absolutely bonkers. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm here. I'm ready.
My worst was in Quebec. I was in Quebec and I was like, can I leave? No, you have to stay. Okay, but I'm done. Like a week into it, I was like, I'm done. And they're like, no, you're not done. A year into it, I was like, okay, I'm really, really done now. Please let me go. Not yet. And they kept sending me to all these different places throughout the place. Like I wasn't living in the same house. I just kept, like, circumstances kept showing up that I kept moving in this village and this village and this city and this, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, enough already. Leave me alone. Let me go. And then I got to live next door to my mom for like a year and be taken care of in a really good way.
So that's nice. Yeah. And some of those messages I've gotten has been long distance moves. Hence you say I'm kind of nomadic. And yeah. So
well, we both are sort of.
Yeah.
When we were talking before the show, you said something about the 12 chakras. Now, I'm familiar with the 7 chakras, and you said that there was maybe some that have more than 12.
We all have 12 chakras.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started to evolve beyond the 7 chakras is when we started tapping into our true GPS. So you have your basic 7 chakras, which are attached onto your body. Then from there, you.
Oh,
you muted yourself, love.
I have no idea how that happened. Look at that. I'm talking about the 8th chakra, like. So the 8th chakra is your GPS. It's your soul purpose. It gives you where you're supposed to be. That one's it's anywhere from 2 to 3 feet above your head. And when you go into a meditation, you don't necessarily have to know where your chakras are, but if they're already active, if you do the intention of cleaning them out, and then you want to align them, because most people I found are not aligned. They're just active and they're just kind of like, they're not functioning.
Is this in your book, The 12 Chakras?
Yes, the 12 chakras are in my book right here. Now, I'm not an expert on the 12 chakras. There is a lady that does write a book that's only about the deep details. My chakra is about the 12 chakras because I'm about manifesting.
What chapter is it in? I'm looking at your book right now.
Now this is, let's see, this is, you've got my new book already?
No, it's not the Magical Money one. It's the other one.
Yeah, it's Magic. See, this is my first book.
I have that one.
Magical Money Manifestation. It is not in this book. It is in my new book that has everything from my first plus this.
All right, I will acquire that one.
Yeah, this one, let's see what chapter it's on.
I thought it was the other book for some reason.
Yeah, no, this is a different one. So it's on page 62 and 63 starts talking about your one. So it's chapter 5 is the chakra systems. And so once we get into the ninth chakra, that starts opening to the gateway to the other realms. The 10th chakra is the gateway for the collective consciousness, and it's starting to get into more of the galactic energies and folding time and space. Moving into the 11th chakra is the one that is actually about the past, present, and future. So this brings you into the 0 point of the present moment. And then when you get into the 12th chakra, which is the divine gateway chakra, this one is starting to actually open you up to the omnipresence, the creator, and your psychic abilities or your true gifts, your abilities as a creator. And then this connects you directly to source. Now, the chakra system, the reason why it's so important to understand is you have to be grounded. You can't just be in your upper chakras. You have to have all of them in alignment. And
Wait, you wrote another book,
right, I have the
the
second.
third one with Nana Kasha.
Yeah, I Thoth, the book of magic. I'm actually in 5 different books. I'm a co-author, and Thoth, the book of magic, careers from the kitchen table, and I bared my chest, which is not physical. It's about women, and that was simply for charity. And then I have 2 of my own books that I've written, and I'm working on a couple of other books too right now. So
Cool.
did that answer your question, Michael? I know it was really, really brief, but we're almost on the top of the hour. We are beyond the top of the hour, actually.
We are. Son of a
Yeah.
gun.
I know.
Well, man, time went by incredibly fast, and usually when that happens, we know it was a good show. But,
So negativity and time be gone.
Well, maybe Lucy will come back and teach us about other stuff.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
And yeah, get that book so you can check out. What was it again? Magic.
Oh, it's
Because your last name's
magic,
weird.
mindset,
and manifestation.
manifestation.
Yeah.
So just remember the middle word is mindset and manifestation, because my other one's magical money manifestations. It does not have the 12 chakras in there, and it doesn't have the deeper secrets. This one has this lot thicker, so you can see how it's like
Much you added.
nice. Yeah. So thank you for having that.
do you have a website or anything?
Yes, the website is Lucy McMonagle. That's LucyMcMonagle.com. So you can go to my website, lucymcmonagle.com, click on my blogs, and I do have blogs about the 12 chakras. So, if you don't have access to get my book, just go to my blog, or there's other individuals that work with the 12 chakras and beyond too. And I have a lot of other tips on my blog posts.
Nice. I just see Colleen said, wow, Lucy, I have been trying to figure that out myself. What messages are for me and what I'm picking up from other people.
Yeah, when you do the focus balance centered, you close your circuits from the outside world.
So was it these 2 fingers or these 2 fingers?
You can actually, some people do this, they're more comfortable and do this. This is just part 1. And then the second part is the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. That's crucial. You have to have those 2 together, because one or the other is not going to work by itself.
Because it's not a triad. See, Michael?
Correct.
Michael is all about the magic of triad.
Power of 3.
Yeah, the power of 3.
Same thing. Power of 3, magic of triads.
Yeah, so you'd have the fingers, the tip of the tongue, and the breath. That's the 3 things. So doing that even if that's the only thing you do, you will be able to start discerning between what's mine and what's not mine. And
That's
you'll
very
start
important.
noticing when you walk into a room or a place, or you go someplace, you'll start noticing your feelings instantaneously changing, just like somebody flipped on a light. And then when you notice that, it's like, okay, that's not my feeling, because that was too sudden. That was just instantaneous, and nothing in my environment caused that feeling. And that's one of the ways that I figured out what was mine and what was somebody else's, is because it was just like somebody just hit me with a hammer. I'm like, oh, okay. Or I'd get just like angry, just and I was like, what's that about? I mean, like, I wasn't like, nothing was going on. I was like, everything was good. Or, I'd feel just this, I just feel like my heart was broken. And it was like, wait a second. I was happy for just a few seconds ago. What oh, okay. And sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes it's the energy imprint of a place. Or you drove through somebody's psychic debris because they forgot to bury it. That's another store. That's another show altogether.
Yeah, that sounds like another show for sure.
That
Well,
sounds good. You can come back anytime.
Thank you.
We are certainly glad to have you, and we're certainly appreciative of all our audience's time and attention. It just so happens to be our 1-year anniversary today of Raising Excellence. And although we were going to make some announcements, I guess we're going to just do that on Wednesday, because we're pretty much out of time.
Yeah, we're going to have the anniversary show on Wednesday, and this will complete our full year, because, this is
It's an anniversary month anyway. We celebrate the whole month. Why not?
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we got some big things coming. We got some big changes coming. We got some big news coming. So look forward to that. And what is the topic for Wednesday? What are we going to get rid of stress or something?
Letting go of stress.
Letting go.
Well, maybe we'll just do letting go, and then we'll talk about all sorts of things.
Wonderful.
So it was so lovely to have you, Lucy. Don't leave. We're going to close out the show, and then we can talk with you for just a minute. Yes. But I remember to say, I often forget to tell the guests that, and then they hang up when we say goodbye, as if we were saying goodbye to them. But,
okay, good to know.
Tony is also saying much love and respect, everyone. Thank you again. Yes. Thank you,
Thanks,
Lucy.
Tony, for your love and support.
Pleasure.
All right, close it out.
With that being said, bye-bye, everybody.
It,
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.